it was amazing. All the hard work paid off. Everything worked perfect. Usually when we have to go somewhere about an hour drive, this can take you there in like 5 minutes. So being electric, it's good for the environment. It just makes sense, you know. Basically, you have 16 motors that has 16 computers. So if one motor fails, you can still fly. With 2, you can still land.
So you have an antibody that sits on a microphene, and there is my marker in the urine, and the marker would dock to the antibody sitting on microphene, and that docking event would change the assisted path through microphene channel. The future is these sensing platforms where humans and computers interface even more intimately. So this is sort of where we have to have a dialogue also between sort of the capabilities and how far can we go?
We tested by using socks that have been worn by children in the Gambia. Now, these socks have just been worn for 24 hours, a very short space of time. But what we found is that dogs are able to detect a difference between the socks that have been worn by children who are infected with the parasite and children who are malaria free. When you're training a dog to find an odour, you have to train in the rules of the game. Some odours are yes and some are no. Let's start with the disease you want them to find. And the game is find that odour, sit in front of it, and I'll give you a reward.
The dogs are picking up the odours so quickly and easily that if you actually had people with carrying malaria parasites, they probably have a really big odour signal, and it may be possible to pick someone up from a crowd that's infected with malaria parasites.
If we consider, for example, the amount of wastewater we produce from our homes, in terms of volume, urine only makes up 1% of that waste stream, but it contains over 80% of the nitrogen, about 70% of the potassium, and 50% of the phosphorus. Now, those are three key nutrients needed to make any inorganic fertilizer, and literally we pee those away every single day and we flush it through our sewer networks. Why should we not be recovering it instead and basically making multiple products? And in my mind, that's the way we achieve a truly sustainable future.
some kind of problem, and we release the life jackets. We were able for the first time to see the whole thing from above, like a chess game, and prevent the possible accidents.
In these machines, batteries live longer, accuracy becomes better, there are new higher security sensors. In a very short period, it has seen a huge development.
What's interesting when you speak to the artists, they have many different perspectives, depending on their age, their background, their race, their gender. But all of them, I think, don't just think of him as a muse, they think of him as a fellow artist. That because of his devotion to his craft, but also how radical he was. I mean, the things he did, musically, cutting across racial barriers, aesthetically, they're quite radical. The artists I talked to, most of them describe him as another artist, and I think that's where there's a real affinity with him.